Hi everyone. So today I wanted to talk about this phrase that that I usually use, and I'm guessing a lot of people usually use. That talks about asking God to help you to see things the way He does. And it's a phrase that I used a lot, but recently I've gotten a different understanding of what this phrase actually really means. You know, in life, and I guess everybody has this phrase where they go through a ride, they're trying to figure things out, know what's the next step. um Maybe they're waiting on something to happen, they want to do things the right way, do things God's way, and so. And recently I've been getting to understand that when we say, God, help me to see things the way you do, you know for me it helps me to be able to, let's say I have to wait longer than I want to wait. It helps me to understand why I have to wait to that length of time, even though I may not want to. And it helps me to say, to step back and say, okay, even though I don't want to do it, it helps me to do it because I get to understand why I need to do it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't still feel like a long wait. It just means that now I understand why it has to be this long, right? And even in terms of understanding, what God has in mind and what He has planned, like I have my plan of, okay, this would be nice if this can happen. And you think of something, oh my, and this is going to be grand and this is going to be big, right? But sometimes God has a plan that's than bigger than that plan or that image that you have in your head, right? And sometimes God brings you an opportunity, and this opportunity say like, okay, you know what, I mean, yeah, I want to be, I want to expand, but I wasn't really thinking about this level of expansion. And then you start to think, maybe I don't think I can handle this level of expansion, because this is bigger than I thought. It seems more than me and all that. But when you get to see things the way God does, you get to understand, what, that God has more for you. God wants you to do things on a different level, on a bigger level, and for me, there are times when I feel like, okay, this is something that I don't think I can handle. I start to think about, you know what, but it's not just about me. It's not, I'm not in this alone. Like, God is there with me. And when I get to understand that He's there with me, and the reason why He gives me something that is so big is not just because, okay, Joanna can handle this by herself. No, because He knows that, okay, this thing is big and Joanna can't do it by herself. But with me, Joanna can do this, right? So if Joanna invites me in the picture, you know, she can accomplish this thing. But it's for me to understand that, and be able to say, all right, God, and accept it, even though it seems bigger than, what I had imagined or what I had planned or what I think that I can do on my own. To realize that it's not about me alone doing this thing, that I'm in it with God, and that is what I gradually get to understand, that, what, God maybe has a bigger plan in mind, because His word tells us that His ways and His thoughts are not like ours, and you know they're higher than ours. His word talks about eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of man, the things that God has in store for those that wait on Him and those that love Him. So it's like we might have something in mind, but God might have a bigger plan in mind. So when we ask Him to help us to see it the way He does, we get to understand, what, I know this opportunity looks more than me, but I believe that God is going to be there with me. So when we see it that way, we accept it, because it's like this. Yes, God is going to bring you opportunities, but you still have to accept those opportunities. It's like God gives you an opportunity to, let's say you do photography, and God gives you this opportunity to do a show, and this show is a big show, and if you could do this show, people get to see your pictures, and you get more work from this, and you get more international recognition and all these things, and you might feel as if, but I don't know if I can do a good enough pictures, if my pictures are going to be quality enough to be shown around the world. And you can start doubting, what you can do. Or you can decide to say, you know what, maybe my skills aren't, I don't think my skills are there yet, but I believe that God gave me this opportunity. I just ask Him for wisdom. He can give you ideas. He can bring people along to advise you. Sometimes you start on the road, and the same people that ask you to help them maybe have somebody there, or maybe is able to tell you, to guide you along and say, oh, don't do this, maybe put this way. And by listening and being willing to, you know, change things and move things around and do things out of your ordinary, you know, you allow yourself to create masterpieces that you didn't even know you could do, you know. And it's all about you seeing it the way God sees it and being able to say, all right, God, you know what? This is bigger than me, but I believe that you with me. And if you're with me, your word says with God, all things are possible. So God, let's do this. You know, despite whatever level I might think I'm at this moment, God, if you provide this opportunity for me, God, you know me better than I know myself. You know the future, you know everything, you know things that I don't know. So if you provide this opportunity for me, God, and I believe that you think that I can do it, then I can do it. You know, and you're there with him, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I got that revelation or whatever you want to call it, and I believe that it maybe, you know, it helps somebody else to maybe see things differently. And that's been helping me because in this process where I'm waiting on God, sometimes it feels like God either takes too long or whatever. But when I get to understand, you know what, the magnitude of what God has in store needs this length of preparation. It helps me to now say, okay, God, you know, especially because it doesn't mean that I don't get tired still, even though I know, right? But it helps me to then ask God to help me to wait on him, to trust him, to make sure that I'm prepared, you know, and not just go through it and then come out and then not be ready, you know, because who wants to go through a storm and come out not learning the lesson or being developed or grow as they should? You know, it feels like if it was a waste of time. The whole purpose of it was for me to develop and for me to grow, and now I'm not, right? So, but anyway, I really hope that this encourages you, that is helps you maybe open your eyes to see things a bit differently or whatever. But you know, I just decide, you know what, let me share this. I don't know who is going to benefit from it, but it's always good for me to put it out there and allow God to work. This is another thing that we gotta do, you know. Stop thinking about, okay, but who's gonna listen to this and who's gonna this and who's gonna that. Just do your part, you know. I make these videos and I put them out there. If nobody looks at it, no harm done, right? But what if somebody needs it, you know? Even if it's just one person, you know, it helps. But you gotta now put something out there for God to work with. You know, you can't just decide, oh, you know, nobody wants this or nobody needs to hear this or who wants to hear me. You know, I could always say, people know this already, you know, and just assume that, you know, okay, nobody needs to hear this, right? But you gotta put it out there, allow God to work. I'll give God something to work with, in other words. Anyway, thank you for listening to my video. If you haven't subscribed, you can do so. I basically share things that I've learned, my experience in life, in hopes that it helps somebody else. And you can also visit my craft page. Is Elizabeth's Classics. I recently got a new website, the elizabethclassics.com. I can put it at the bottom in the description box. But feel free to check out my page. I appreciate any support, even if you just share or you tell somebody else about it. I appreciate that. Anyway, thank you for watching my video and see you in my next video. Bye.